My name's Adam. And if I'd ever wondered where I really stood in my own family, well, that question got answered the day I stumbled across the will. There wasn't some big, dramatic moment with my parents sitting me down for a serious talk. Nothing like that. I found out completely by accident. Just dumb luck, really. It happened a few months back while I was over at their place, the same house I'd been helping them pay for these past 5 years. Between the mortgage, picking up groceries now and then, and fixing stuff around the house, I was the one keeping things running. Meanwhile, my brother Ryan? That guy didn't lift a damn finger. And I'm not exaggerating. He did absolutely nothing. No job. No real responsibilities. Just laying around, acting like life owed him something. And my parents? Seemed like they were perfectly fine handing it all to him on a silver platter. That day, I was helping my dad sort through some paperwork because, like always, neither of them really knew how to deal with it themselves. He asked me to scan a stack of documents, legal papers, financial stuff, the usual. I didn't think much of it until I saw that folder. It was labeled estate plan and last will and testament. Just sitting there, plain as day in the pile. Now, I'm not usually one to snoop, but I couldn't help myself. I mean, I'd been the one keeping the roof over their heads. Seemed fair to wonder how things were set up going forward. So I opened it. And right then, my stomach just sank. Everything, and I mean every single thing, was going to Ryan. The house, the savings, all their assets. My name, barely even a mention. Just one of those standard lines about loving both sons equally. Yeah, right. Equally, they said. Like handing over everything to their golden boy and leaving the one who's been footing the bills out in the cold is what equal looks like. I felt like an idiot. There I was, bending over backward to help them, paying the mortgage on time, making sure they had food in the fridge, and they were planning a future where I didn't even exist. And Ryan? He wasn't just lazy, he was spoiled rotten. Never pitched in, not even once. But somehow, he convinced them he was the one who deserved it all. Maybe it's because he's the baby of the family. Maybe they've always coddled him. Or maybe he just knows exactly how to pull their strings. Whatever the case, their minds were clearly made up. I sat there holding that will, hands shaking, part anger, part heartbreak. How long had they been planning this? Had I just been their unpaid backup plan this whole time? Did they ever actually appreciate anything I did? I don't even know how long I sat there, frozen, until my dad finally noticed I wasn't scanning a thing. Hey, Adam, what's the holdup? He asked, coming back into the room. I didn't even try to hide the will. I held it up, looked him square in the eye. So this is how it is? I said, my voice way calmer than I felt. Everything goes to Ryan? After everything I've done. He turned pale for a second. Then he let out this sigh, like I was throwing some kind of childish fit. Adam, it's not what you think, he said. Really? I snapped back. Because it looks pretty damn clear to me. I've been paying your bills, buying your groceries, fixing up the place while Ryan sits on his ass. And you still decided he's the only one who matters. Dad looked uncomfortable, like he wanted to vanish. Instead of explaining, he mumbled, "It's complicated." That was all he said. 2 worthless words. No apology. No explanation. Just a vague excuse. And this look on his face like he expected me to just nod and keep being their walking ATM. Honestly, I should have walked out then and there. But I needed to hear it from both of them. So I called for Mom. She came in, saw me holding the will, and the guilt hit her face like a spotlight. But the first words out of her mouth, they made my blood boil. "Adam, sweetheart, you don't need the inheritance," she said softly, like she was doing me some kind of favor. "You've got a good job. You're doing fine. Ryan, well, he struggles. We just want to make sure he's taken care of." That was the moment something inside me broke. They weren't denying it. They knew exactly what they were doing. And somehow, they thought it made sense. Years of enabling Ryan's laziness, and now they were ready to reward it by handing him everything. Meanwhile, I was getting tossed aside like I didn't matter. I took a breath, clenched my jaw, and gently laid the will down on the table. "Got it," I said, voice steady. "Good to know where I stand." Then I turned, walked out of that house, and let the front door slam behind me. They'd made their choice. Now it was time for me to make mine. I didn't go back after that. Didn't call. Didn't check in. For the first time in years, I let them handle their own problems. If something needed fixing, they could figure it out themselves. If they needed food, they could go get it. And if the mortgage showed up, not my problem anymore. They stayed quiet for a couple weeks. I think, at first, They figured I was just sulking and I'd come crawling back like always. Maybe they thought I'd cool off and apologize for even daring to question their decision. But as the days passed and the money stopped showing up, you could almost feel the panic creeping in. Then one afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Dad. Property taxes are due. That was it. No, hey, how are you? No, sorry about everything. No, thanks for all you've done. Just a cold, matter-of-fact message. Like I was still the human ATM that could punch numbers into whenever they wanted. I stared at the message, half laughing to myself at how predictable they were. Did they really think I'd just fall back in line like nothing happened? That I'd keep covering their bills after they made it clear I didn't matter? I typed back, calm as can be. I'm sure Ryan will handle it, since it's his house now. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Mom. I let it go to voicemail. Then came another text. Adam, please don't be like this. We need to talk. Oh, now they wanted to talk? Funny how the sudden urge to communicate popped up right when the bills started stacking and real life came knocking. I let an hour pass before answering. I texted, there's nothing to talk about. You made your decision. Now you can live with it. And to be honest, I figured that'd be the end of it for the day. I was crystal clear. And not for 1 second did I feel bad about it. But then Ryan decided to insert himself. His message came in later that night, and the second I saw his name pop up, I just knew it was going to be something irritating. And I was right. Dude, why are you being such a drama queen? He wrote. It's not a big deal. Just help them out like you always do. I almost laughed out loud. Not a big deal? He was really out here acting like I had no reason to be upset. I texted back, nah, looks like you've got it all handled, since you're the favorite and everything. Then he came back with, oh my God, are you seriously mad about the will? Grow up, man. It's just money. Just money. Yeah, funny how it only became just money once it was all going into his pocket. The hypocrisy was insane. So I replied, then you won't mind using some of that money to cover the mortgage, right? Nothing. Total silence. A few minutes later, another text buzzed in, this time from Mom. She was going full guilt trip now. Adam, we're your parents, she wrote. Family takes care of each other. We did so much for you growing up, and now you're just abandoning us. I had to stop and take a breath. My hands were shaking, not from sadness, but frustration. Abandoning them? After everything I'd done? I'd spent years making sure they were comfortable, paying bills, running errands, fixing everything, while they babied Ryan and rewarded his laziness. And now that the consequences of their choices were catching up with them, I was the villain? Not a chance. I wasn't falling for it this time. I replied, you made it clear I wasn't part of this family when you left me out of the will. Ryan can take care of you now. I could practically hear Mom gasping from here. She always had a flair for turning herself into the victim, even when she was the one causing the problem. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Another text from Dad, and this one lit a fire in me. We're not asking for much, he said. Just enough to keep the mortgage going for a few more months until we figure things out. Don't be selfish. Selfish. That word hit a nerve. I'd spent years sacrificing my money, my time, my peace of mind, just so they wouldn't have to struggle. I'd been the dependable one, the one who stepped up every time. And this? This was how they repaid me? By cutting me out completely and still expecting me to foot the bill? Now that I was finally putting my foot down, I was the selfish one? I clenched my jaw, took a long breath, and typed, no, I'm done. Then I turned off my phone. They'd made their choice. Now they could deal with the fallout. The silence lasted a day. I knew my parents wouldn't give up that easy, but I wasn't prepared for what came next. The next morning, I woke up to a notification. A bank transfer request. I squinted at my phone and opened it up. It was from Mom. She'd actually sent me a money request like I was an ATM. The amount? $4,000. I stared at it in disbelief, shaking my head. No note. No explanation. Just a cold, bold request for the exact amount needed to cover their overdue mortgage. They weren't even asking anymore. They were just assuming I'd cave. I hit decline without even blinking. Not 5 minutes later, the phone rang. It was Mom. I let it ring. Then came a text. Adam, I know you saw the request. Why did you decline it? I took my time, then typed back. Because it's not my responsibility. Try Ryan. Another call. Declined. Another text. We're going to lose the house if you don't help us. Oh, now it was a crisis? After all those years of treating me like nothing more than a piggy bank, now they wanted to play the emergency card? I typed back. Maybe you should have thought about that before deciding I didn't matter. A few seconds later, Dad joined the pity parade. You're really gonna let your parents end up homeless? That one actually made me laugh. Out loud. They weren't homeless. They weren't broke. They just didn't want to use their money. They were so used to leaning on me, they couldn't imagine doing it any other way. I ignored them for the rest of the day. That night, another message came through. This time, Ryan again. Dude, just send them the money already. You're making this a bigger deal than it is. I clenched my teeth. This entitled little brat actually thought he could lecture me? I replied, you mean the same money you're inheriting? Why don't you send it? He shot back almost instantly. You know, I don't have that kind of cash right now. Oh, now it was about affordability? He was totally fine with me draining my account, but when it came time for him to put his money where his mouth was, suddenly, he was broke. I texted back. Guess you better figure it out then, bro. You're the one they chose. No response. I went to bed that night with a strange sense of calm. Like, for the first time in a long time, I'd finally cut the strings. I'd broken free of the guilt and manipulation they'd wrapped around me for years. But the next day? Yeah, things escalated again. I was at work when I got a call from the front desk at my apartment. Hey, Adam, your parents are here? I nearly dropped my phone. What? The front desk lady hesitated, then added, they said it's an emergency. Said you won't answer their calls. You've got to be kidding me. They really showed up at my apartment because I stopped paying their bills? I let out a long breath and rubbed the bridge of my nose. Please don't let them up. I wasn't expecting anyone. There was a pause. They're being kind of pushy. I clenched my jaw. I don't care. They can leave. Hung up. And just like clockwork, bing, a text from Mom. We're downstairs. Open the door. No question. No explanation. Just a command, like usual. I ignored it. Another text came in seconds later. Adam, we're not leaving until you talk to us. I stood from my desk, exhaling hard. Okay. If they wanted to force a scene, then fine. I'd give them one they wouldn't forget. I grabbed my keys and stormed downstairs, my blood practically boiling. I wasn't scared. I was pissed. The nerve it took to show up at my place, uninvited, demanding money like I was still their personal ATM. No heads up. No apology. Just a surprise visit and a guilt trip. Ready to go. I yanked the front door open, and there they were. Mom, Dad, and Ryan. All huddled together like they were staging a damn intervention. Mom had her arms crossed, giving me that classic disappointed mother glare. Dad stood stiff with his hands shoved into his pockets, wearing that look like this whole thing was beneath him. Like he couldn't believe I'd forced him to come out here in person. And Ryan? The leech had the audacity to look bored. Like this was just some errand that was getting in the way of his nap. As soon as Mom saw me, she launched right into her act. Adam, finally. We need to talk. I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms. No. You need to leave. She blinked, totally thrown. Like she couldn't process what I just said. Excuse me. You heard me. My voice was calm but firm. You don't get to show up at my place demanding money. That's insane. Dad scoffed. You're really going to let us lose the house over a petty grudge? I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, you mean the grudge where you decided I was good enough to pay your bills, but not good enough to be in your will? That one. Mom gasped like I'd slapped her. Hand on her chest, full drama mode. Adam, that's not fair. We only did what we thought was best for the family. I tilted my head. Best for the family? You mean best for Ryan? Just say it. They said nothing. Just stood there in heavy, awkward silence. Then Ryan finally opened his mouth. Look, man. I don't even want to be in the middle of this. I didn't ask for anything. I turned to him. I'd had enough. No. You just sat there and took everything handed to you. You're 28 years old, Ryan. Get a damn job. His face flushed deep red. Dude, what the hell? I stepped forward. You heard me. You want to inherit the house? Start acting like a homeowner. You want to be the golden child? Then start picking up the damn tab. I'm done being your personal bank. Ryan looked away, suddenly real interested in the sidewalk. Mom took a breath and tried to rally for another guilt trip. Adam, he's your brother. Yep, I said with a nod. And I've supported him more than you ever have. Dad's expression darkened. You're being selfish. I laughed. I mean, really laughed. That's rich. Coming from you. I motioned between them. You both made the call. Ryan gets everything. I get nothing. And now that the bills are coming due, you come crawling to me, hoping I'll fix the mess you created? Not happening. Mom's voice got sharper. We thought you'd be mature about this. I raised an eyebrow. Mature? You mean roll over and take the betrayal quietly while I keep footing your bills? Let's be honest. That's exactly what you expected. Dad stepped forward, trying to tower over me like he used to when I was younger. Adam, we raised you. We fed you, clothed you, gave you everything. The least you can do is help us now. I stared him down. I did help you. For years. And you thanked me by cutting me out completely. Mom's lip quivered. We thought you'd understand. I shook my head. Oh, I understand. I understand perfectly. I was never family to you. I was just your paycheck. The silence that followed was thick and crushing. I turned to Ryan, who was still pretending to be invisible. And you? What's your excuse? You've had years to grow up, to contribute, to be something other than a drain on everyone around you. But you didn't, because you knew they'd always pick up the slack. And once they're gone, you figured I'd just keep the gravy train rolling, huh? Ryan finally snapped. What do you want me to say, man? I didn't ask for this. I nodded slowly. Yeah, you didn't ask. You just reaped the benefits. His mouth opened like he was about to say something, then closed again. Nothing. He had nothing. Mom tried one more time. Adam, we're family. Family takes care of each other. I looked right at her. Exactly. So why didn't you take care of me? She froze. Her mouth moved slightly, but no words came. Nothing. I let out a slow breath, lighter than I'd felt in years. We're done here. Then I turned and walked back inside, closed the door behind me without a second glance. Before I even made it to the couch, my phone buzzed again. New message from Dad. Wow. After everything we've done for you, you're really gonna abandon us. I smirked, typing back, no, you abandoned me. I'm just finally accepting it. Then I hit send and blocked every one of their numbers. But I had no idea that cutting them off was only the beginning. Things were about to get worse, fast. Not even 24 hours after blocking them, I started seeing posts on Facebook. My parents weren't exactly tech geniuses, but when they wanted to play the victim in public, oh, they figured it out fast. At first, I thought it was just their usual dramatic nonsense. I mean, airing out family drama for sympathy points? That's kind of their thing. The more I scrolled through their Facebook pages, the more I realized this wasn't just about me cutting them off financially. This had turned into a full-blown smear campaign. Their posts were wrapped in fake, family love, but anyone with half a brain could tell they were aimed directly at me. Mom had written something about how she didn't raise her son to be so selfish, and how real family supports each other no matter what. Her friends piled in with comments like, what a shame, and he's lost his way. Some even said I was ungrateful and didn't understand the meaning of family. Then Dad decided to jump in with his own post. So-called family shouldn't walk away when you need them most. We gave everything to our children, and this is how they repay us. And right at the end, just to twist the knife, he tagged me and added, hope you're happy. But the real kicker came from Ryan. I should have known he couldn't resist jumping on the drama train. He shared some long-winded post full of half-truths and fake humility. Some people think family is all about money. They don't understand it's about love and sacrifice. I'd do anything for my parents, but not everyone gets that. Then came the real jab. I just wish some folks would learn what it really means to be family. Right. He was the loyal son now. That was it. That was my breaking point. I sat there, staring at my phone in disbelief. How had things gotten so twisted? How did I end up painted as the villain, the selfish son who abandoned his sacrificial parents, the ungrateful child who didn't appreciate years of love and care? I had been the one who worked hard, the one who stepped up, the one who kept everything from falling apart. And now I was being crucified for finally saying enough? I didn't react right away. I gave myself a few hours. I needed to breathe, to cool down. I didn't want to post something just out of spite. But the more I thought about it, the more I knew I couldn't stay quiet. If they were going to trash my name online, then I was going to speak the truth. So I grabbed my phone and opened Facebook, not the one I barely used, but my actual account, the one with people who knew me, people I cared about. And I started writing. I didn't want to get into a back and forth. I didn't want drama. I just wanted to set the record straight. Here's what I wrote. I've been quiet these past few days, but I can't stay silent anymore. My family's been posting things about me that are flat out untrue. They've painted me as the selfish son who walked away in their time of need. Let me tell you the truth. I've been helping my family since the day I could legally work. I've paid bills, bought groceries, fixed their house, and done everything I could to support them. But support should go both ways. Over the years, I watched my parents put everything, money, attention, affection, and to my brother Ryan. They gave him the house, the savings, everything. And me? I was expected to keep giving without question, without even being treated as an equal. Maybe some of you think, well, that's what family's for. But here's the thing. Family should be a two-way street. When I found out I wasn't included in the will, not even mentioned beyond a throwaway line, I finally saw the truth. I was good enough to help when things got rough, but not good enough to be considered part of the future. I've paid for their vacations. I've covered their bills. I've even sent money for taxes on a house that I'll never own. And for what? To be treated like I was just a backup plan? Like a wallet they could open when they needed something? No. I'm done. I'm a human being. I deserve respect, and I've earned the right to be treated like I matter. Not just when it's convenient. Ryan is 27 years old and has never held a job. He's never taken responsibility for anything. My parents have enabled that for years, and now they're shocked that he's their favorite. He's had every chance to get it together. Now it's his turn to step up. To those of you who've been reading their posts and passing judgment, just remember, there are always two sides to every story. Yes, family is important, but it's also about mutual respect. I've done my part, more than my part, and I won't apologize for finally choosing myself. This isn't me walking away from family. This is me walking towards self-respect. And to my parents, I wish you well, but I am done being your doormat. I hit post, and the second I did, a strange calm came over me. For the first time in my life, I wasn't hiding behind guilt or pressure. I had finally told the truth. And the response? It was almost instant. People I hadn't talked to in years reached out, cousins, old friends, even a few folks who were close with my parents. Some liked the post. Others messaged me privately, saying they were sorry I'd gone through all that. Some admitted they'd always seen the favoritism but didn't know the full story. It was freeing. Like taking off a heavy jacket I didn't even know I'd been wearing. But of course, it didn't take long for the backlash to hit. Ryan messaged me first. You're a traitor. You really had to blast our family business all over Facebook? You have no respect. Then came Dad. Full volume. You've ruined everything, Adam. You'll regret this. You'll regret turning your back on your own family. But I didn't regret it. Not one bit. I blocked them all. Every number. Every profile. I was done. And for the first time in my life, I was free. Free from the guilt. Free from the weight they'd placed on me for years. Free to finally live life on my terms. I wasn't going to be their fixer anymore. I wasn't going to be the invisible son who kept everything together behind the scenes. I was done with being taken for granted. I was done being the one everyone expected to clean up the mess. And now? Now I had the freedom to live how I wanted. So no, I don't feel bad for cutting them off. I deserved better. I still do. And from here on out, I'm choosing to surround myself with people who see me, not just what I can give them. It's time to move forward. For good. And I will.